Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the award-winning recovery podcast, Get in the Herd, brought to you by the McShin Foundation. I am your host today, Nathan Mitchell, and we have in the studio two, I believe, both brand new peer recovery specialists. Is that correct?
Yes,
So I've got Adrienne over here to my left again. She was here, what, last week?
about 3 weeks
Has it
ago.
been 3 weeks already?
Yes.
It's a fun show, though. Okay.
Hmm.
Adrienne over here to my left, and to my right, Stephanie, who is you just took the class, didn't
I
you?
just took the class.
You did. I can't talk today. Pardon me. I've got mumble mouth. You just took the class, and you're a newly minted peer recovery specialist, and
Yes.
you're the house leader at our McShin Intensive Female House.
Yes, Chesterfield.
So you kind of do a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And so okay. Let's talk about this. So. I wanted to talk today about what it is, what a peer recovery specialist is, what a CPRS is, a certified peer recovery specialist, and talk about why that's so important in the recovery, helping the next person, in recovery. So you took your class a couple weeks
December.
in December. Okay, right, a couple months ago, and you're working on the hours now. So what is the process of, for those who may not know, what is the process of what is a PRS? How about that?
A PRS stands for, um, oh my goodness,
Peer recovery.
peer recovery specialist. You rubbing off on me. Peer recovery, peer recovery
I've been known to do that.
specialist. Yeah, and peer recovery specialist supports others that are in substance use disorder. Or mental health challenges, supports them in their recovery. And the process of becoming a PRS includes a class of 72 hours, right, Stephanie?
Yeah,
72
72.
hour
Yeah.
course, which some are done on Zoom and some have started back in person now since the pandemic has been declared over. Well, that's what I saw on the news yesterday. Anyway, Dr. Fauci said that the pandemic is over.
Oh, Dr. Fauci said it's over.
Absolutely, he
Oh, well, then
did
all right.
yesterday.
Okay, okay.
And so, after the 72-hour course, you are required to are required to complete 500 hours of internship or training, and that's what I'm doing here at the McShin Foundation.
That's awesome. What I love is that so you're here doing those hours, and Stephanie, you took your training as a part of the McShin with McShin, right?
Yeah, I did.
So you're sort of you're alumni of McShin. You lived in our housing. Now you're a house leader, and you've decided to take it one step further to be our PRS. What does having that training and becoming a certified, taking the test, becoming a certified peer recovery specialist allow one to do in Virginia?
Okay, so we mentor people in recovery, talk to them, try to help meet their needs with mental health or getting them resources.
Mhm.
So we kind of hook them up and kind of mentor them.
That's awesome. So you've been at McShin. How long have you been here now?
I got here in January, late January.
Wow. So
I'm sorry, February.
late February?
Late February.
Okay. So not too long.
Mm-mm.
No, where did you come from if you don't mind me?
Chicago.
No, wait, how did you find us? I don't know your story, so I'm
yeah.
interested. Sorry, Stephanie.
Yeah, it's okay. I was actually in the 28-day program out of Chesterfield last year. Went back to Chicago.
Okay.
Was doing pretty well, and then ended up having a relapse. And I did really well out here, and I decided that I really wanted to pursue a whole lifestyle change. And so I packed up all my things, put it in storage, gave my dog to my dad. Hi, Dad.
Gave my dog to my dad. Hi, Dad.
Yeah. Yeah. And I really made the full commitment to want to change my life.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm doing. Game on.
Game on.
Game on.
How do you like being the house leader at the intensive women's program?
I love the women. I really like to see the beginning to the end. It's an amazing change. I know what it was like for me to go through those changes, and I'm still going through changes. I'm still a baby in sobriety. I learn every day new things, and it's really fulfilling for me to be able to help other women go through those changes.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about you? What brought you into the peer recovery specialist role? It's one thing, so it is one thing to be to work a recovery program, and I know you and I work 12-step programs. I'm not sure what your pathway is, and that's not necessarily something to have a debate about. It was just more of a. I know you and I have similar programs, and we work with sponsors and spot. Well, I believe you have a sponsor,
Sponsor,
yeah.
absolutely.
And so my program, tells me I work with the new people and blah blah blah. How do you get from being in recovery to becoming a peer recovery specialist and actually getting paid to do what you love, or potentially get paid because you ain't getting paid yet?
Potentially,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Because I have a passion to help women recover, and I realized that it's funny, right? How your pain can be turned into purpose,
Mm.
yeah, or
Ooh.
passion,
Yeah.
right? Because I came into um the fellowship, I came into recovery hating women actually because of the trauma, the emotional trauma that had been inflicted upon me as a child by my two sisters. And I had this disdain for women. And now it seems like the door is just opening up, and women from everywhere are just calling because they're having struggles in recovery, or with their substance use disorder, or they're having struggles in relationships. And so I'm just trying to be in position wherever it is I might land, working in the field. I just want to be in position to help women to overcome their challenges and struggles.
Well
Yeah.
said.
That's awesome. I love
Hey,
this.
really quickly, the first thing you said, say that one more time. Turn your pain into passion.
Mm.
Passion and purpose.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's good stuff. That's
Yeah.
real good stuff.
That's gonna go on my wall. I like that pain
That needs
into
to. It
purpose
needs
and
to.
passion and purpose. Yeah,
Mhm.
I like that. So, um, your foray into recovery, are you living? Have you done the recovery house experience?
No, I
No.
haven't. No.
What is your familiarity with like recovery community organizations such as like McShin? Like,
Okay.
are you familiar with other places? And
I have a tiny bit of knowledge about the healing place, but not
okay,
much, because I know quite a few ladies that have come from the healing place, but only what they tell me. And like I always say, there's three sides to every story: your side, their side, and the truth, right? So I try not to form opinions about places that I have not, encountered.
Yeah.
And so, but in oh boy, it's been so many years, like 1993, 94. I was in a long-term treatment facility. It was called 919 on West Gray Street in the city of Richmond.
mm.
And I was there in a year-long program. And
Oh wow,
I just went through the motions because I wasn't ready. Yeah.
Mhm.
1994, three.
93,
Three?
94. Yes.
Ooh,
Hmm.
Mhm.
that's a little while ago.
It is.
I'm not that because I know I was there. I was around that time.
Hmm.
Not in Richmond, but yeah. I'm just thinking Stephanie over here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what were you doing in 1993?
Being 4 years old.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, so I think I love carrying on to that theme, that pain into purpose and
Yeah.
passion, right? So how does that work for you? So you've come back, you were here.
Mhm.
How did you find us in the first place before
You know,
first
that's
time?
it's a really long story. I was in really deep into my addiction, and to be quite honest with you, it was an accident. It was a traumatic kind of story that why I ended up here. I
Yeah.
actually was just really deep in my addiction, and I woke up in a truck, to be quite honest with you,
Mhm.
and I decided to get help. I ended up in Virginia,
Yeah.
and I decided to get help, and I thought, they always say change people, places, and things, and
Mhm.
I thought I could outrun me,
Yeah.
but I did stick and stay. And look, it worked out. I came
Yeah.
back, I came back to
Absolutely.
where I felt like it was right.
I I've always struggled with the seemingly dichotomous advice or suggestions of, okay, you need to change you need to change people, places, and things,
Mhm.
but you can't change anything big in the first year. And it's like, well, wait a second.
Yeah.
So, and I know, I mean, it makes more sense to me now.
Mhm.
And I use that as as excuses early
Mhm.
on to keep certain things in my life that I
Mhm.
thought, were helpful and certainly weren't. But I probably still cling to those behaviors too.
Yeah, I think we
Some
all
of them.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I excuse me,
Oh no.
I think that when the suggestion is given to change people, places, and things, that is related to our addiction.
Mm.
Yeah, the actual picking up and using of the drugs, but not changing anything or making any major
Mhm.
decisions in the first year is more so related to our lifestyle and behaviors. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I have a sponsor to guide me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
It's really, yeah, it's been very, very important for me to bring people into my life so that
absolutely.
I'm not trying to outrun myself.
Yeah.
What did you say? Outrun me? Is that what you
Outrun me.
outrun me?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you made your way back here.
Me too.
I don't. I sort of remember you from last year. I'm sorry.
It's
When
okay.
you told that, I said, "Well, shoot, okay."
I was only up here on Wednesdays because I
Yeah.
was in the intensive house, so I never stuck and stayed
Yeah.
long
Mhm.
enough for people to really get to know me. And so some people recognized me, but they
Mhm.
weren't sure what happened. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Well, we get emails when people come. There's a staff email that goes around when any
Mhm.
new participant comes, and I'm pretty good about reading them all, but
Mhm.
people I don't ever see very often, and then the
Yeah.
women, I don't go to the women's program house
Right.
very, very rarely. I used to do more groups up there, but
Mhm.
it turns out one of my one of my character defects, um, one of my physical character defects is this lead foot that I have. And
Ah.
Mhm.
the last time I was at y'all's house doing a group, y'all's house.
Yeah.
I'm from New Jersey originally.
Yeah, I
Uh,
don't like that.
but I've lived here long enough. Last time I was out there, I got a speeding ticket on the way back. So I,
Uh,
and it was a reckless one too. I was going like
mm,
81 and a 60.
yikes.
Yeah, I'm a lot better now,
Mhm.
because I recognize that the pain of paying more for my insurance and
Mhm.
the ticket and the
Mhm.
time and the court and the this
Not
and
Yes,
worth it.
it's just not worth it. But
it's not.
mm-mm. But
Never is.
it's really nice though. I've been pulled over for speeding probably 3 times in my entire life. Two of
Mhm.
them in like a space of 6 months
Mm.
last year, and both of those times I was really grateful to be able to hand over my driver's license and
Mhm.
not be worried about
Yeah.
driving under the influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had insurance on my
Mhm.
legally registered car.
That's right.
I'm not saying go out and do other illegal stuff. I'm just saying it was a lot. It was a lot less scary for me than it could
Yeah.
have been. I think the last time before when I was pulled over for speeding, I think I might have been a little dirty.
Yeah.
And well, anyway, we'll not increase.
And
But
your
yeah,
and your license was probably suspended. And when they come back to the car and say, "Do you know? Did you know your license is
Mm.
suspended?" And then you have to go through this exercise of
That's right.
pretending like,
Oh,
"What?
that old
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. When did that happen? Yeah."
actually, true story.
Oh.
I was pulled over once. I was pulled over once when I was not. I didn't turn my headlamps on. Yeah, it was a bad idea. But when I got pulled over, I actually legitimately didn't know. I had a Florida driver's
Mm.
license. I was being pulled over in Northern Virginia, and my license had suspended because I gotten suspended because I hadn't paid the speeding ticket I had in South Carolina. So it's
Yeah.
like I actually had no idea.
I just
So
went through the same thing. I promise you.
oh my god,
I
I
did.
am so grateful that's not a part of my life anymore, though.
Yes.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
like my car is currently in the shop right now, and I'm like, all right, it's a pain in the neck because I have to get rides, and I'm grateful
Mhm.
I've got friends and people. I'm pointing over at Justin because he's been
Mhm.
been mostly my McUber, but yeah, right.
I love the McUber.
I love McUber. Yeah, I do too.
Shout out to the drivers.
Shout out to McUber drivers. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. But I've had, I have friends and people, and like, I get myself to work. I mean, if I had to, I get the scooter. We were talking
Yeah.
about.
Really.
You can get a little scooter on Uber now.
If you get the
Oh.
scooter, don't ever call me again.
Okay.
Okay.
But and like, okay, so I called up the shop earlier today. I paid for the work that they
Mhm.
didn't do.
Oh.
That's another. The car's not working still, but
Mhm.
the car is ready to go. I'm going to get it towed somewhere else, and somebody else is going to charge me money to do nothing
Mhm.
over the weekend. Did my presentment come out?
Yeah, a little bit.
Little
Say
bit?
what now?
Did my resentment come out a little bit?
No, I didn't hear any resentment
Yeah.
there. Not at all. Not at all.
But I digress. But these are the luxury problems I have today. Like for
Mhm.
real, like tomorrow, tomorrow I get paid, and I'm gonna pay my rent,
Right.
Mhm.
and I'm gonna be able to pay all the bills that I have to pay. My
Mhm.
insurance is paid. I paid it for 6 months at a time, and like it's I'm not bragging about okay recovery now I have money. It's like no, I'm still struggling,
Mhm.
and I'm working on the things that I need to do to make sure that I'm of service. I'm helping myself and of service to the next person in recovery. So as a
Mhm.
peer recovery specialist, I mean I can't really go out into the field and do
Yeah,
work with an individual if I'm not doing the work myself.
that's right.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
and there are days I want to just stay in bed. There
Mhm.
are
Yeah.
days. How do you get past that? How do you get over those days?
Those it's tough, especially being all the way out in Chesterfield, it's
Mm.
a further away from Richmond, so it can get kind of lonely sometimes out there. So I just stay connected to my network. I stay in touch with them every day. Make sure I'm going to my meetings, and I'm actively doing my step work and what I'm supposed to be doing and reaching out to other people, and that just keeps me engaged with my recovery so I can better help other people.
And you have a driver's license.
I
Oh.
do. That's a whole thing I actually have been working on today.
Oh, that's right. I
so
heard.
funny.
That's right. I did just hear that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good
Yep.
for you. But like you're able to do that,
Yeah,
and
I
that's a
am.
beautiful thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yep.
And you have a driver's license.
I do.
That's
Yes,
like
I
that in recovery. That's like a woo.
do. Mhm.
Like that's the golden
It
ticket
is.
right
Yes,
there.
it
Yeah,
is.
really-
So
Yeah.
all four of us have driver's license.
yeah.
Licenses.
We're legal. License to thrill.
Am I
License to
saying that right?
drill.
Licenses.
License.
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 Yes. Uh-huh.
Licenses.
We're all licensed.
License.
License.
There we go. I was
Oh.
gonna say.
Yeah. And I like what Stephanie was just saying about getting up and being a part of, because
Yeah.
I was having one of those days
Yeah.
today where I was just
Mm.
like blah, and didn't feel like getting up because things aren't going the way
That's right.
that I expect them to go, especially because I'm trying to do my hours and then
Yes.
trying to work a little bit. And so I've been kind of crunched
Yeah.
financially.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm just so sick of this. And then so I
Yeah.
went home and I took a nap when you called. I went to the hair salon, then I went home and took a nap because I was on my pity pot. Boy, it's
Yeah.
me. Yeah. So
Been there.
and what I realized is that when I isolate,
Yeah.
that is when that thing in
Yep.
between my ears, my
Yep.
mind starts telling me all kind of stuff. So I've
Yeah.
learned how to combat it. And the first thing I do is get up. You
Mhm.
just get up, because if I lie there
Yeah.
and wallow in that stuff,
Self-pity.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the self-pity
Yep.
because things aren't going right, because I've never seen it
Mhm.
not work out before,
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
have to reflect on,
Mhm.
how I've been in situations before and they've worked out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So having a support network is very important.
Yeah.
Having other people in your life to encourage you
Mhm.
and to say, no, we're not going to do it this way. Yeah, we're going to
Right.
get up and get on with your day. If I can't pull that stuff up from the inside of me
Mhm.
on my own, which
Right.
I do pretty good doing that now, because that's what I did today. Girl, get your ass up.
Right.
And get on with your day and stop, stop trying to feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it'll work out. I can always encourage other people.
Right.
Yeah, but I have
It's that
such,
within part.
yeah.
I'm actually kind of the opposite, is that I'm a very go person. I
Mhm.
have my goals, and sometimes I get so worked up when things don't go my way
Mhm.
or it's not on my time. I'm a very impatient person. I'm
Mhm.
proactive,
Mhm.
but impatient, and that's been my issue lately, is trying to reel that back in and put
Mhm.
my own self back in its place and say it's on, my higher powers time.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not on my time, and what
Mhm.
needs to be done is going to fall into place when it needs to,
Absolutely.
and I just need to keep doing the best I can every
Mhm.
day.
Every day.
And that's just my goal right now, is just to make each day count and just
Mhm.
go with the flow.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. Because I
Mhm.
can vacillate between both of those extremes, and something I recognize in what you were sharing about that struggle to get up and to get stuff done, and you actually did something this morning that I do sometimes when I'm struggling to get up and get out of bed. You sent me a joke, or I mean not a joke,
Mhm.
but a a funny
message.
yeah. And I think it took me a little bit to get back to you. Sometimes I'm quicker than
Mhm.
others, but I do that when I'm in a kind of mood. I'll just shoot things out to
Yeah.
a few people and
Mhm.
just be silly, and see what comes back, because I figure, man, maybe I make somebody chuckle, maybe it can make me chuckle.
Yeah.
But I also relate to what you were sharing, because I recently, without going too deep into something, but I recently had two like professional, like not setbacks, but things that I was hoping for.
Right.
Like I was really, really hoping for. One of those things I really expected to get,
Yeah, sure.
attain. And then this other thing that I kind of said, well, shoot, I have no luck. I mean, I'm going to do the bare, I'm not even going to do the bare minimum, because, well, I'm like, we don't have a shot in hell. I'm not, let me just
Right.
submit this thing. If I need to do more, I'll do more, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Right. Well, it turns out, me being me, and I'm usually over like kill with stuff.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I expected to get, like I mean, like I knew I was gonna get it.
Mhm.
I was planning what I was gonna do and blah blah
Right.
blah, and I didn't.
I was gonna say how'd that work
It,
out?
it did,
Sometimes it
yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
And I, and that was almost a week ago. It was last Friday, and I actually haven't even told anybody here really, except for Justin, and like I didn't tell my bosses, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I just don't want. I don't. Yeah, I just
Just yeah.
I'm mad at myself for having that expectation.
Expectations.
Because I kind of sat like over the weekend, because I found out Friday, and then Saturday we drove to Bedford and put the White Marker Project out, which was amazing, and I love when I have that opportunity to go do that. Because it's really grounding for me. Because I'll bitch about it. It's heavy. It's like heavy. It's manual labor.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm 5'4.5" and almost 200 pounds. I'm like, I'm not exactly. I'm 46. It's like, my manual labor days, and enjoying it are kind of past
Yeah.
it. I don't know that I ever had them, but I mean, look, I recognize my limitations, my little
Yeah.
hobbit hands and feet.
Yeah.
But so like being able to go and do that, and it's really grounding, because the
Yeah.
White Marker Project is all about remembrance of the people, our friends and family. And as we're taking I think you both know what this is, the White Marker Project. They're crosses that we put out in the field, and they're, each cross represents a person we've lost to an addiction or
Right.
addiction related causes. And each each cross will have most of them have names on them, or many of them have names on them now. And as we're pulling them out to put them out, I'm like, oh, I've I've eaten a meal with this person.
Yeah.
I've shared a room with this person,
Right.
and I've talked about our most embarrassing moments with, and it's my friends, my family, and it's like, oh, wait a second, who the hell cares? I didn't get this thing. It turns out, like what I was hoping and expecting, it's like, actually, I'm actually doing that work,
Yeah.
regardless of whether like I get into this particular scholarship university up here to tell me that I'm doing this work, when I'm doing this work.
What a great way to look at it.
Well, it takes a couple days to get to that,
Hey. Yep.
and a little bit of that pity me. I want to sit on that pity part.
Absolutely.
I was actually this morning going, pour me, pour me, pour me, pour me another drink. As I recognize, well, but I recognize I was whining to somebody about, oh, it's the car right now, because it's gonna cost. Every time I can make a phone call, I open up another vein, because I'm paying money out for this car.
Right.
And I'm like, God, like my problems are really not that big,
That's right.
Yeah.
But they seem big sometimes at the
yeah.
time, and that's when we get swallowed up by that
And
pity.
yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
In
But
the
it
moment.
depends on us, though, how long we stay in
So
that
how
pity
long we
party.
stay
Or,
in it. Yeah. And
you
that's
know?
exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Get your ass up and
Yeah.
and get back to life.
I
Get back to living.
Yeah, I get better with that as my sobriety time goes on. The more I'm
Yeah.
engaged and I'm actively working on my recovery, the better I get at certain things. Yeah.
What I love a lot about like the problems that I have these days is like the problems that I had before were, damn, I'm not going to have enough money to get what I need to get.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, I'm not going to have enough money to pay my credit card off completely, but I can still make a pretty substantial pay.
Right.
Like it's amazing how the problems shift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
Good problems now, though.
yeah. And that's the
Yeah.
first thing I did with my paycheck. Like I paid a credit card with it.
Yep.
Oof, I'm gonna
Alright.
get rent. I'm gonna pay rent tomorrow.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning.
Mhm.
As soon as my paycheck hits, when I wake up in the morning, it's out. I'm gonna be done with it.
Yeah.
Because I I need to live somewhere.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
But it's funny how our priorities start changing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
They start shifting.
They
You know?
definitely do. Yeah. I have a good friend that always says when he shares that life always shows up. He said, "Today I show up for life." And I
Yeah.
love
Love
that.
that.
I love that
Yeah.
when he says it, because that is so true. Because I remember I used to, boy, I ran from everything.
Yes.
Yeah, dogs, cats, and the mailman.
Yes.
All of that stuff I ran from. I was scared to death to go to the mailbox because I knew
Mhm.
it had bills in there that I wasn't going to pay. So
Yeah.
yeah, and so now I don't have that fear.
That's
You know, when I
right.
go in the house, the mailbox is right there. I pull the mail out
Yeah.
and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, hey, did you know? I don't know why I didn't think about this. Adrian came out to do a group at Chesterfield. Yeah, just
Oh.
recently. Monday.
wasn't
I
it?
don't know.
Yeah,
My
Monday,
days
I
go
think it
together.
was.
Did you get a speeding ticket?
Not at
Okay,
all.
good.
Not at all. No. That is nauseating when you get a speeding ticket, because it's like giving away money.
Yeah.
I am so
Oh,
angry at myself when I get a
I
speeding ticket.
know.
Oh gosh, I can't take it. Yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
What was the group on? What did you do?
Self-esteem and self-worth.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Self-esteem and self-worth. And I think
That's so
is
important,
it is so
especially
important.
early
Yeah,
on.
early in recovery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because there
And
usually isn't any, or
yeah.
you're at the bottom.
Yeah. And a lot of times people will say, "Well, I love myself." Okay, how how do you love yourself,
Yeah.
but you are willing to risk putting fentanyl
Mm.
in your body,
Mm.
knowing that you might die? So define, what is your definition
Mhm.
of love? Because that's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah, anytime I am willing to kill myself
Mm.
to just get outside of myself,
Yeah.
I don't love me.
You know
Mhm.
that it's just, I encourage like the simple things each day to
Mhm.
show yourself that, you're spending time on yourself.
Mhm.
Self-care, right?
Mhm.
It's all about self-care.
Mhm.
You know, that puts me in the right mindset,
Mhm.
even if it's just the simplest things like taking a shower and
Mhm.
brushing my hair. If you got
Yeah.
to start like
Yeah,
that,
somewhere. Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
just, you
I
got to,
do. And I was
mhm.
talking about doing positive affirmations, and
Yeah,
one person was like, "Well, I don't believe that stuff." And I said, "It's the repetition."
it
Yeah.
is
Once you,
habits.
yeah, it
That's
happens
right.
when you keep hearing it and hearing it
Mhm.
over and over again. And I used the example, Muhammad Ali called himself the champ, and he the greatest, and all of those things.
Mhm.
And he said at first he didn't believe it. He said, but when he kept saying it and saying it,
Mhm.
he kind of absorbed it. Yeah,
Internalized it.
internalized it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So
Mhm.
yeah, continue to tell
Yeah.
yourself that. I also was using the example when the pandemic first hit,
Mhm.
and it was at its peak, and we were doing Zoom meetings, and
Ugh.
they would just talk.
Sorry.
They would
Laugh.
just talk about having a negative outlook on life, and how change your thinking to see the glass as
Mm.
half full instead of half empty. And I heard that like every day. And I was like, okay, so how do you do that? Because I've always had a negative outlook on
Mm.
life, and just was cynical and
Sure.
everything. So and it even was to the point where I would have to call somebody and say, this is a situation. How do I see this as the glass being half full as opposed to half empty? Because my thinking hasn't been
Mhm.
trained to do that
That's
yet.
right.
And I would
Yeah.
have people to help me and show me. And now I can do that on my
Mhm.
own. It might take a couple of days, like you said,
Yeah.
Nathan, to get there. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I'm angry, and I want what I want when I want
That's
it.
right.
But yeah, I get there when I get into the acceptance. And then when I get into the acceptance, I get into
Then
the
it's that
surrender.
freedom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the surrender. And with the
Yes.
surrender
Mm.
comes the freedom.
Yep. That's right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Freedom from the bondage of self.
Of self.
Oh,
Yes.
That's good
oh,
stuff.
Yes.
yeah, that is good stuff. Well, all right. So you all had done the 72-hour training, right? And
Mhm.
so the peer recovery specialist training, I took the class. I think it'll be 3 years in August. So all
Mhm.
2 years and what, like 9 months. 8 months,
Mhm.
something like that. And I'll be honest. So there's a lot of the like I know the domains and things that I kind of got a refresher on yesterday. And we took an ethics class yesterday.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
heard.
Yeah, right. And I love. Not everybody does, but I definitely I love ethics and I love
So do I.
to. Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
because well, I mean, I want to be challenged. Like
Mhm.
I recognize that I'm limited by myself,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mm.
and I want to know more. I'm very selfish in the respect that I want to know all the things,
Yes.
Mhm.
and I want to be better. I want to be better. So I can.
Knowledge,
Yeah,
education.
and I love getting in there and having discussions about blah blah blah. But anyway, we had this ethics training all day yesterday,
Mhm.
and we talked about those four domains. I think it's ethics is one, development and education is the other.
Mhm.
Um, I forget those four domains. Do you remember?
Is the advocacy one?
Advocacy is
That's
one.
one.
Advocacy, development, education. Oh
I had
gosh.
to leave, so I didn't get to
Oh,
finish.
I forget. Well, I think it's just in general with PRSs. But anyway,
Mhm.
Mhm.
the work that we all do as PRSs. Now, I it's funny because I took the class and I still it's kind of an ongoing joke. I still haven't taken the test.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, the certification.
yeah, and
Mhm.
and up until like about a year ago, like it really like around here, it's like it matters, but it's like all
Mhm.
right, I took the class, I'm a PRS. It doesn't change what I do,
Yeah.
Mhm.
except here's the funny part, right?
Mhm.
So last year, I and along with a couple of other people, from around the Commonwealth, from Virginia, we were looking at the manual, the PRS manual, and
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
they're updating it, and it's always
Yes, they
looking at
are.
updating, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things we recognized in that, and I've talked about this here
Was
before.
the ethics section?
Well, actually, no, 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 no. But I guess it kind of no. It's lacking in cultural competency. So there's like three
Mm.
paragraphs that talk about what cultural competency is, and like
Okay.
I'm not going to have a very good, knowledgeable conversation about this. What I'm grateful for is that I know a lot of people who do know more about this than I do, who can come to the table, and so I, with other people, we helped organize a bunch of people to sign a petition saying, "Hey, DBHDS, look,
Mhm.
we want to make sure that LGBTQIA plus
Mm.
BIPOC people are discussed in a helpful and not harmful way, and
Yeah.
Mhm.
issues that are specific to marginalized communities are
Mhm.
brought in a meaningful,
Positive
in a
way.
positive
Yeah.
way, an introduction at least, and there
Mm.
can be other classes. And so
That's
Mhm.
great.
as a result of that petition, right,
Mhm.
we took this petition, we got a whole bunch of names, we submitted it to DBHDS, and
Mhm.
they said, well, hey, how would you like to do a focus group? And we
Mhm.
said, well, hey, we would like to do a focus group, and I love Mary and I love Mark, and I mean, like these are people I've seen. Mark Blackwell, the director, and Mary McKeechin, and Denise Hall, who's the uh, diversity officer director. I forget her title. She's amazing, but sorry, Denise, I'm screwing up your title. But so these people who work on these things, who are of the mindset, who want to be helpful and not
Mhm.
harmful. Oh, what
Mm.
was the word? There was a word.
Non-maleficence.
Non
Non
maleficence.
non-maleficent. At first it was beneficence and
Beneficence.
then non-maleficence. And I said, well, that really means the same thing, doesn't
It
it?
kinda,
Mm.
Or
yeah,
really
yeah,
close? Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. No, I'm with you on that. But in that spirit, it's like, okay, we're going
Yeah.
to update the manual, and hey, can we, we would like your input on that. So we've met with them twice now. Yesterday being the second time, and
Mhm.
it's kind of like, yeah, I probably should go get certified
Mhm.
at some point. I mean, I'm coming at it a place from knowledge because I mean, I've taken the class, and I've
Mhm.
taken. If I were to take the CEUs that I've, from classes that I have taken, I mean, I would be up to date on
Yeah.
my certification. I just haven't gone through with it. And at this
Mhm.
point, it's kind of been a running joke, but I need to do it.
Mhm.
Do
The
it.
point of this is that how this all plays out in my daily life, right? And how I
Right.
work with the individuals.
Yeah.
And oh, I hear, yeah, right. You
Yeah.
hear the
I hear
conversation?
it.
Yeah, it's whenever anybody walks by, they can't really hear it on here, but we can hear it.
Okay.
Yeah.
For those of you listening and wondering what that was with us talking, there's always conversations in the halls. You probably can't hear it,
Mhm.
but what that means in our daily life is that, like, when I work with an individual, when I first got here as a participant, right,
Mm.
I had, I didn't go through an intensive program, and I do think if I still had a resentment towards McShin, which that was one of my first resentments. Now, I mean, I've worked through that, but that was one of my first resentments, and I've talked about this here too. It's like because I came from Northern Virginia, I came from hour and a half. I didn't have financial backing. My recovery capital was shit. A bag of groceries, a bag of clothes that pretty much didn't fit. And good luck, no job, and good luck. And one of the first people I meet is that knucklehead. He was my first house leader. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Ain't that crazy?
That's cool, though.
Speaking of first, guess who's right next door? The first host of this show. Well,
Alex is there.
Yeah.
Oh no shit. We'll bring him in.
I should do that, shouldn't I?
I mean, why not? We're almost at the end anyway. We got like 20 minutes.
Okay.
BRB.
15. Yeah, bring him in. But so the point is that, like, okay, so looking at how my experience and what I went through, right? All the good stuff, because there was a lot of good stuff. I'm still here, and looking at all the things that can be worked on, and also recognizing that from the pain of having to figure things out on my own and having autonomy. Remember that word was really big yesterday, right?
Self-governing.
Gosh. Because like so many times I was like throwing up my hands thinking, help me. And it turns out I was able to help myself.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, which was amazing to finally have that. Oh, see, now I'm all nervous because Alex is there. So to get that autonomy to be able to actually do these things on my own and learn from the process and grow as a person in recovery and has been amazing. So as I approach my work now, as a little bit into this process of recovery, I'm learning more and more to be, come on, mother. I was going to say the F word, but I'm learning more and more to help people find the resources to do the thing instead of actually doing things for them. I want to take a second and hug this guy, Alex Bond over here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my friend, good to see you. So,
How's it going?
Hey, how's it
Alex,
going?
good to meet
Stephanie.
you.
Adrian, nice to meet you.
So way back in the dark ages, in the pre-pandemic years ago, there once upon a time, this guy right here was a host of this award-winning recovery podcast. It's probably because of you that we're the award-winning recovery podcast that we are today. Well, good to see you, my friend. Here, come share. Sit.
No, I'm literally just hanging out. Here, you can. I can grab a chair or something. Here, I'll be right back.
I'm forcing you in here.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So Alex, the reason I said to come in here, so Alex is a really good example of success here, right? Alex came through our intensive program. Actually, did he? You have no idea.
At all.
Yeah, no.
Like,
Why would
no
you weren't
idea.
here?
Nope.
No, you were doing research.
I was still
Um,
I was still researching.
Alex,
Yeah.
did you go through the intensive program?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. So Alex came through.
Fresh out of jail.
Okay. Like me. So I came in here. All right. So come on. We're gonna get in here. This is I like it. That's why we do it like this, right? So Alex came in October of 2019. I don't know. When did you come here?
October 10th,
Of
2019.
2019. Yeah, and I did not like the guy at all. I thought
No.
he was arrogant. He was funny, but in an annoying way,
Yeah.
obnoxious way. It turns out all the things I didn't like in him were the things in me, right? Yeah. And we had this amazing bonding experience. I was fresh in my job, so I kind of was an outreach coordinator. I was at the time, but same thing. But I was fresh in my job, a few months in, and and still living in housing. So I think I was still a house leader. I think I was a house leader at Chamberlain. You became the house leader at Dumbarton at Scott House, right?
For about 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, for 2 or 3 months, and then you were at Clark for a long time. Yeah.
About 7 months.
Yeah. Gosh, that seemed longer than that. But what I remember though, so we're talking about peers and the role peers play in recovery for others, right? And so we've got two brand fresh peer recovery specialists who are here working on their hours to get certified, right? Did you ever?
Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
Yeah, and so Stephanie is the house leader over at Chesterfield, which is the women's program program house, and Adrian is just. I don't even know how you found us. But Adrian just came in and said, "Hey, I need to get my hours. Y'all seem like you're having fun, and y'all messed up, so you're probably just gonna give me 5 hours for every 2 that I do." So tell me, Alex, man, what's going on with you, and how has your experience been in the last? I don't know. When did you leave here? A year ago now?
A little over a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. guess I was in housing for almost exactly a year. I think I moved out of housing around November of 2020, and still worked here at McShin. Eventually, I was the medication coordinator and certified peer recovery specialist. So
Oh, you're certified.
on y'all to do that. I think my certification's up now.
Okay, I didn't realize you went through the class.
But I
Okay,
did. I went through the class. I eventually ended up teaching the recovery coach training that they do here at the end of the month every month.
They're
I
doing
like
it
that.
today.
They were doing it today.
Yeah, they're doing
Yeah.
it today. My Chesterfield girls are down there.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's another perfect example of how that peer-to-peer shit really works. You know, it is
peer-to-peer shit.
It's unlike anything else, and I've been able to take that model and idea, and I use it in my daily life. I ended up applying for a job as a producer for a production company.
Wow.
And then they ended up telling me that they're actually working on television shows. So for the last year, I've been traveling the country producing 2 and now 3 agriculture-based documentary competition programs.
Wow.
Which is pretty
That's
cool.
really neat.
Agriculture-based. Say that again.
Agriculture-based documentary.
Agriculture-based
Documentary
Documentary
competition.
Yeah, so in short, we follow 6 farmers across the nation competing against each other for who can grow the most corn. in one show, and then soybeans in the other. And then this year, we actually have just started filming for a 3rd program called Better Halves, which follows the women in the industry. A lot of, I think for 5 of the farmers, it's their wives, and kind of like what their daily duties are and what their responsibilities are and what it's like being a woman in agriculture.
Interesting.
And one of them, it's the farmer's like secretary. They call it chaos coordinator because she's like all these women are generally the brains behind the operation.
Yeah, well,
that as well.
Behind every operation.
That's
It's really cool being able to like.
I'm screwed, aren't I?
It's really cool taking what I learned here. I jokingly remember very vividly in my job interview, saying, if I can manage a house full of drug addicts, I can probably manage other people.
So true.
And the whole peer-to-peer idea has really given me the refreshing attitude of being able to talk to people like people instead of talking to, everyone wants 2 things in life, and that's to feel heard and loved.
That's right.
And it doesn't matter who you are, and being able to like take that lesson that I learned from, being a intensive program person to an employee to a, house leader has been really impactful, and, I'm still clean, which is pretty cool.
What are you at, like 3 years coming up? When's your anniversary?
2.5 years.
2.5?
September 23rd,
Okay.
2019.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that Alex got here in October of 2019, and we ended up going to a conference together in Roanoke that at the end of October, right before Halloween. I think it was on Halloween, actually.
Maybe like a month clean.
Yeah, right.
I've been here 2 weeks probably.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that you were chosen, and I mean, by random coincidence, this conference happened to be at the hotel in Roanoke that Alex's parents manage. Do they still manage the hotel?
Yeah. So my stepdad is pretty much like the GM. He's the assistant general manager. He's pretty much number 2 in charge of the entire hotel, and my mom is the director of revenue management. She essentially handles the money side.
The money.
So we got upgraded rooms.
We did.
We did. I know we did.
But it was cool because he invited me, and it was like, that was like my second home.
Yeah.
Back home, I spent a lot of time at my house and friends' houses, but I worked temp jobs at that hotel all the time. So when Nathan said we're staying at Hotel Roanoke, I was like,
yeah, and
I'm
we
there.
and we really didn't invite you because of that, but it turned out to be pretty awesome, as a result of that. And then, we just kind of bonded and
we found a local meeting down there.
I forgot about that.
We went to a building where there wasn't a meeting, where there was supposed to be one.
We
then
walked
drove and went
forever,
to
didn't
another
we?
meeting, I think.
Oh yeah, we decided to walk instead of drive, and then the car broke down. And oh my goodness, I forgot. Your dad had to jump us, didn't he?
Yeah.
Your stepdad had to jump us, give us a jump.
Yeah, that Explorer that you had was.
Well, that expedition's still out in the parking lot, still running, or it was anyway. You know how it is around here. We take something and we beat it until it's useless, and then we find another purpose for it, and then we beat it until that's useless, and then we repurpose it for something entirely different, and then wonder why it doesn't work. But that's kind of the nature of the industry here. So, well, cool. Thanks for sharing that experience, man. Like because I love what you were saying about being a peer in recovery and taking that class and learning how to interact with people. I mean, it transfers. These are skills that transfer to other jobs, and now you work with people, farmers, and other people.
Farmers.
I know, isn't I love it though.
Well, it's cool because I've actually done a lot of research on it.
The show is called The Podfathers.
The Podfather, that's one of them.
Oh, you have the hat on.
Yes.
The Corn Warriors.
Okay.
Corn Warriors, and what's the third one?
Better Halves.
Better Halves.
That's so
I came
cool.
up with that name.
Yeah.
Did you?
I did.
I like it.
Very proud of that. But I have kind of thought and started to want to get into like being able to give back to that community at the same time, because apparently like farmer suicide, the suicide rate for farmers is higher than any other
Really?
occupation in the country.
Oh wow.
Because they deal with the stress of having to be a fifth generation farmer. My granddad owned this farm. He passed it to my granddad, who passed it down, and I could be the one to lose it. It's
Mhm.
like
Wow.
a major amount of stress. And with input prices, and these guys essentially are CEOs of their company, and so that level of stress leads to an extremely high depression and suicide rate, and it's obviously a very dangerous job. So
Yeah.
that's something that I've been doing a lot of research on and trying to figure out a proper way to like advocate for and possibly donate to.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, very interesting. I think.
Huh. That's awesome.
You are the one that kind of like taught me how to advocate for certain things. We've been down to the state capitol, and that whole process I've been able to watch you do, and kind of I'm a bit of a sponge when it comes to stuff. Is just being able to kind of like sit and try to soak in as much as possible, and then like pull the trigger when the preparation meets opportunity. That's what they say luck is. So
Absolutely.
kind of just waiting for that opportunity to see what it looks like.
I gave when Alex came over here, I gave him a task right off the bat, which Alex, you did such a great job on that, and I've let it go. I asked Alex to go get the addresses of all of the McShin houses, right? We have 15 houses now. Can you believe it?
No.
Yeah, it's
I
insane.
think there was 11 when I left.
Yeah, maybe I don't know. 50. I haven't even been to all 15 yet. Like the Clover house and the LaFrance house.
Oh, it's so adorable.
I'm sure. I just
It is.
like, well, I go to my house,
Same.
Yeah, but we have 15 houses, and so I asked Alex to go through and find everybody who represents that house, like from state level. I mean, from the federal level to the state level to the county level, to as low as it goes, to the sheriff, the Commonwealth's attorney, and to put it down on paper. And you did a great job at that. And I haven't updated them, but I mean, I keep a kind of a running total in my head. I still would like to work on that again, but you nailed that out of the park, and that was really cool to see, because now anytime we've opened a new house, I've thought, okay, who are the people that represent it? I mean, I still think that way, and it's like, and when I talk to legislators, when I talk about recovery with legislators, it's easy to say, well, hey, we have 3 houses in your district, and I know all the people that that are, except for the one in Chesterfield. I don't know who that person is. But it's important that we have those conversations and those meetings with people. So we're transparent. We're seen as good neighbors. We talk about what it means to be certified, what CAPRIS accreditation means, VAR certification means, and all of these things, and talk about recovery. For me, it's really important to make sure that I'm out about my recovery, and talking, because I'm going to need help. I do need help, and I'm not always going to need help from. I'm going to need help from people who aren't necessarily identifying as in recovery. And public policy, is where I'm comfortable talking sometimes. So it's great to do that, and to be able to bring people in is really cool. And so I really appreciated that. The second, I don't know if it was the second task, but another task that Alex knocked out of the park, International Recovery Day. What is it called?
Yeah.
International Recovery Day. Right. Faces and Voices of Recovery took that project on now, so they'll be doing it. But
that's pretty cool.
Which
Yeah,
is
that's really
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Well, Alex became the go-to intern in 2019 for September 30th.
I guess it was September 30th, 2020.
Oh, it was 2020. That's right. Yeah. So what they do on that day? It's International Recovery Day, September 30th of the year. They try to get places, anywhere you are, lit up in purple, right? So Alex literally called all around the country and a couple of places out of the country, and said, "Hey, International Recovery Day, September 30th. How about you put some purple gels on your lights?"
Right.
And what are some of the places you got lit up purple? What are some of the things that you were responsible getting lit up purple?
The Hawaii Pineapple Tower.
Oh my goodness.
Niagara Falls was probably the biggest.
Yeah,
That's
this guy
so
got
cool.
Niagara Falls lit up
Wow.
purple.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that is great.
My goal was like one in every state, and I think I got like 30. And a bunch like in different cities in the States. I want to say that I probably got a total of like 80. That's a really rough guess, but it was skills like that taught me how to like do my job now, which is not be afraid to just kind of like
Go for it.
find, well, Jesse Wysocki will tell you, find the problem, find the solution, implement the solution. And that's something that I use on the daily, Like yesterday I was on a day trip to Chesapeake, Virginia. And stuff happens, and we got to be able to roll with the punches and live in the solution instead of like
absolutely,
hosting our own pity party.
Oh, pity party! That's the third time we've talked about pity parties.
That's right.
All right. What do you do to get off your pity parties? Did we? Yeah. Well, what was solutions for you again?
The first thing I do is get up and start moving around. Yeah, because I know that when I'm idle, and my mind just starts racing, it starts doing the gymnastics, like Jesse says, it does gymnastics, and it's all across the place. Yeah, and then I reflect on where my higher power has brought me from so many times before in the past, and that is how I get in the solution. And then I become active. I put the work to it. Yeah.
And I thank you, because that's and when you get stuck, what do you do to get off the pity pot?
I utilize my recovery network, like I said before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm all about reaching out. Even though I don't like it, and I'm definitely not a phone person. Yes, I'm generation text.
Generation text.
Yeah. But I do make that purposeful phone call now, to hear somebody else's voice, and then I redirect myself to somebody else, and like, how are you doing? Get the focus off of me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's kind of what I do. Do for others. And it really brings that back home.
I love that you just brought in the problem, solution, and action. Identify the problem, identify the solution, put that solution into action is how but you said it a little differently, but that's how I've said it. And we've actually started using that here. So this show today is identifying the solution, and sometimes the solution into action, and identify. So we've been doing this show modeled on the curriculum that you helped put together. So the way the classes are set up here, I know, right? I love you. I miss you. But the way the classes are set up here, we have all of our classes, all the groups throughout the day. They all have, if you notice, it says problem, solution, or action, right? And then it has a kind of a theme for that group. Now we've drifted wildly from what was originally set. We've drifted, not wildly, but we've drifted from that original settings, which is exactly how things evolve, right? But that was how you and Jesse worked to put that together, right? Yeah, which is pretty awesome. And I've taken that we've taken that and we've started doing that just in the last couple of weeks here with the show. When we don't have when we're not interviewing like Kamal's attorney or something like that. But even that's a solution, right? Or action or something. So that's that. I like that. I'm glad you brought that in because that was a meaningful lesson for me in recovery as well. So we're coming up on that land the plane time, and I want to make sure that I know we kind of wildly threw a curveball with.
No, I'm
okay.
sorry
It
to
was
come in and
good.
steamroll
No,
y'all.
no,
It was good.
I said, tell them to come in.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that everybody gets to say whatever they want to say at the end there. Do you want to say hi, mom, or hi, dad? You want to say hi to your doggy?
Oh, well, I mean, I doubt he's watching.
Aw.
But my dog's name is Charles. So
Mhm.
Is he in charge?
Charles is in charge. Yes,
Charles
he
in
is.
charge.
You and
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Generation text.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm 33, so I'm kind of in that in between.
Mhm.
I'm not a totally like savvy person when it comes to technology, but I'm also not ignorant. So,
Mhm.
you know.
I mean, I'm a little older than that, but I get annoyed now with phone calls.
Yeah.
Especially from people I know who text.
Mm.
Like, why are you calling me? I don't want to
Right.
talk to you. Like,
Mhm.
or at least text me to tell me you're calling.
Right. That's what I do. Text
Yeah.
first.
Because
That's funny because I guess I'm probably the youngest guy in the room, and I much prefer a phone call.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
Dang.
9 times out of 10 I'm gonna ignore your call. Well, 9 times out of 10 I'm like,
Old
what?
soul.
What's that?
Old soul.
Well, yeah, that's ego, I guess. I do want to be available. That's
Yeah.
that's a character defect to work on.
Mhm.
I'll talk to my sponsor later. All right. Anyway, thank you, Generation Text. All right,
Mhm.
what do you have to?
Shout out to Charles.
Shout
Shout
out.
out to Charles. Yeah.
What I wanted to say earlier, you were talking about coming into the process and with only one bag and what was it?
Oh yeah, bag of groceries, a bag of clothes, and
Yeah.
no money, no job.
And the struggle, right?
Jeez.
And
That's right.
and I love to talk about the struggle, right? The poem. There was a cocoon with a butterfly in it. The man would sit on his porch and watch the butterfly struggle every day to get out of the cocoon. So he said he would snip the cocoon and help him. Well, what he didn't realize, so when the butterfly came out, he came out with a big body and little wings. Should have been reversed, a small body and big wings. So what he didn't realize is that in the struggle of the butterfly trying to get out of the cocoon, he was pushing the necessary nutrients from his body into his wings so he could fly. So when he snipped the cocoon, the butterfly fell to the ground with the big body and the little wings, and he just flapped around for the remainder of his short life because of somebody thinking that they were helping, an enabler thinking that they were helping. And so I always relate that struggle to that scenario to the struggle that we have as people, and using those times when we feel like we're being crushed and nothing is going our way, and we're in this struggle because the struggle is real. We say that, but it's at that time, just like the butterfly, where I build that muscle, I build that like spiritual muscle, and I connect with the God of my understanding, and I build that faith, and I build that trust, and I build that momentum, and I build that tenacity, and all of those things. And then when I build those things and I connect with my higher power in that struggle, I come out as a butterfly and I can fly. So that's what I wanted to say about
like
the
that.
struggle.
I guess the big body with the little wings would probably get eaten by Charles.
Yeah,
Probably.
absolutely.
I love that. I love the image. I love that imagery there too. Surprise guest. Do you want to finish and say anything here today?
Sure. I'm just very grateful for the McShem Foundation. Thank you for having me on such a spur of the moment. I'm very grateful that you two are becoming PRSs because it's extremely important, especially people as especially
surprise.
especially people as empathetic, compassionate, and intelligent as yourselves. We need more people like that.
That's so nice.
That sort of work.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you to my sponsor, Nathan, Recovery Network, recovery program in general. I don't know. My life is very full nowadays, and it is awesome. And now I deal with real people problems. which is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Still problems, but
Yeah.
it's just not how do I put the next one in me problems or how do I make rent problems, you know?
Yeah.
So I just really thank you for, you know, pulling me on and you know, watch Corn Warriors and the Podfather. Facebook, YouTube.
And better halves.
And better
Better
halves.
Better
Coming
halves.
this summer.
Well, all right. Well, then thank you to our very phenomenal new PRSs who are here with us. To Adrian, thank you for being here again on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, and we'll keep a regular thing if you like. We'll bring more people and do this again.
Okay.
Excuse me. Once I get to like the hour point, my throat goes. I'm sorry, Stephanie. Excuse me. Ooh, not COVID, I promise.
Allergies.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
exactly
real
what it
thing
is.
Dr.
here.
Fauci
It
said
is.
COVID's over.
Dr. Fauci said
So it
COVID
doesn't
Yeah.
exist anymore.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stephanie, thank you for being willing and just jumping in. I
Yeah.
grabbed you literally 5 minutes before the show.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
thanks
I think
for
it's
having
4
me.
minutes. Yeah. Thank you for jumping in. And man, did you see what Dixie said about you?
No, I didn't see
Oh,
anything.
hey, put the
I
comp.
wasn't
Would you
watching.
show the?
Uh-oh.
Stephanie, so proud of you, girl.
Snap.
I remember her from last year. Yep.
Yeah.
What's up,
What's
Joey
up,
Jewel?
Dixie?
And Honesty, did you see what Honesty said there? Alex?
Alex.
You better pop down and see her when you're done. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks again, Alex, for jumping in. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, and talking about peer recovery specialists, etc. We will see you back next week on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Same bat time, same bat place.
Peace.
Peace.